If you have tried generating an image to video using AI, you know it is very difficult to actually get the outcome you are looking for. It can be repeatedly getting slow motion generations, unrealistic movements, wrong camera move, bad acting, even though you have ChatGPT'd the prompt as an expert. At the end of the day, some scenes are impossible to get right. That's where Modify Video and Motion Control can be a lifesaver. Today we're going to have a look at 2 ways you can do this. 1 using Kling Motion Control, and 2 using Luma Labs' brand new Modify Video using Ray 3.14. And I will show you how to get the best results and which model to use in different cases. Oh, by the way, one of them is extremely expensive to use. Before we step into these examples, a quiet note on method. Many of the reference performances and scene structures here draw from moments in YouTube videos and well-known films. This echoes a long tradition in cinema. Quentin Tarantino has openly built his style on stealing, remixing shots, gestures, and energy from the films he loves most. George Lucas did much the same, borrowing frameworks from old World War II movies to shape scenes in Star Wars. What begins as influence becomes something new when reimagined through fresh tools and intent. Here, too, we're not copying. We're guiding AI to capture the essence of motion and timing that once felt impossible, and letting it breathe in a different form. Let's have a look at a short sequence I put together, and try to spot the scenes where Modify Video or Motion Control have been used.
CD in my car, skipping on our favorite part. I still mouth the words you'd sing like you're in.
So here we are inside DaVinci Resolve, and let's have a look at the scenes where I used Modify Video or Motion Control. So maybe you guessed correctly. The first scene where I used Motion Control or Modify Video was this rock climbing scene. You can see that it's very natural movements. The second scene is this other rock climbing scene. Again, you can see that this is based on something that is real. The other scenes here are image to video, and I had to use multiple takes for these to come out correctly. While this is another motion to video. The same with this reaction clip. These scenes would be impossible to recreate using only image to video using a prompt. Now, let's have a look at the first scene, how I created it, and how you can best use Modify Video or Motion Control. The first thing that you want to do is to find a scene with a movement you are looking for, but maybe even more importantly, that the setting is very similar to the setting in your video, because then it makes the modified video much better. I knew that I wanted my character to be rock climbing on a cliff near the ocean, so I found on YouTube a video of this guy rock climbing, and the scenario is more or less what I was looking for. So I just took out this part, recreated the first frame as a still image using Nano Banana Pro. For that, I used Higgs field, where we have this image I want to copy, and I have used a character reference sheet of my character. And the outcome is this, which is very similar to what I was looking for. It is also very important to try to match the first frame of the video.
In this example, the first frame was not the same as the video.
And the outcome became not exactly as I wanted. You can see that there are some ropes there. She's morphing quite a lot.
When I'm using a starting frame more similar to the first frame of the reference video, the result is much better.
More realistic and similar to the reference video. Now, let's go into Kling and see the difference between the 2 options that you have here. Oh, by the way, I do suggest using motion control directly inside of Kling as the generations are faster, cheaper, and much more stable compared to, for example, if you're using it in an aggregator like Higgsfield. So here you have two options. You have character orientation matches video or character orientation matches image. Now, to explain this very easily, if you use the video of character action to mimic, the result comes out very similar to the video that you have uploaded using your character image. Let me just show you. Here you can see that I have the video uploaded and the character orientation, and the result is looking like this, which is very similar. It's very good, and it's more or less what I was looking for. Now, if you use character orientation matches image, this is the result that you get. Kling uses a very free interpretation of the scene. The camera's angle is not exactly what I was looking for. I mean, you might get lucky and get a good result, but I have seen that the quality is much better if you use character orientation matches video. Now, let's compare these two because I actually ended up using this shot from Luma because the quality of the rocks, the ocean, the color in general looks a bit better than over in Kling. There's quite a lot of morphing in the character, and the ocean down here is quite static. However, there's a very big but here, and that is the pricing, which we're going to talk about a bit later in the video. Now, let's do the breakdown of the Luma Labs option. It is similar to Kling, but it's a little bit different. Let me show you. You have the reference video. You do have the start frame, and this is when you're using Ray 3.14 or Pi, if you like. If you go to Ray 3, you can also add the character reference to make sure that the character looks a bit better. And in a case where you don't see the character's face too much, I have found that this option is working better. And it's also a little bit cheaper than using the Ray 3.14. And it works better when there are a lot of movements in the scene. And if we just superimpose these two images on top of each other in DaVinci Resolve, the movement is following it almost 100%. It does have some creative freedom, but that just makes the overall shot a little bit better. In Luma Labs, you also have the possibility to guide the strength of the video compared to the image. I have found that using it down here, where it adheres to the structure and performance details, tends to work better. But again, it depends a bit on the video that you have uploaded. We're going to talk about that a bit later in the video. Let's have a look at the next scene. That was the second rock climbing scene, where she climbs up this rock. The camera moves back. Very cool and cinematic shots. Again, I found something on the internet. You have to trim it down to 10 seconds, and this video is, as you can see, vertical, but the starting frame, horizontal. You can see that the video uploaded takes over, and it comes out in the uploaded video format, which in this case was vertical, and I wanted it to be horizontal. While in Kling, the same prompts, the same images, it comes out in horizontal. That's what I wanted. And even though it is put on character orientation matches video, that is just basically use the camera movements and make sure that the movements of the character that I have used here is very similar to the reference video. The next scene I used motion control is this dance scene, which is the now famous in-sync dance, recently used in the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. And since the reference video here was vertical, I could not use it over in Luma, so I had to use it here in Kling. And it's pretty straightforward. Use the character orientation matches video, because the dance moves will then be better. And I'm very happy in how it actually came out. Now, let's have a look at the last two scenes, where we have a face in the image. You might have recognized the reference, which is from Seven, directed by David Fincher. It's a very famous scene. So I again copied the first frame of the reference video that I will modify. I used again my character sheet as a reference, and the still frame was this one, and it came out looking like this. It's not exactly like the frame that I used as a reference, but I think my character is similar. I could have prompted without the plaster over her nose, but I did not see that. So let's put it inside Kling and Luma Lab, and I'm going to show you a very interesting difference. Okay, here we are inside Kling. I have in the first example here, I'm using the character orientation matches video, and the outcome is looking like this. The subtle expressions in her face is more similar to the reference video, as you can see here. If I use the character orientation, they do not include the subtle movements that Brad Pitt has and kind of interpret it kind of from scratch. And it's not looking that realistic compared to the version where we drive this video generation more oriented to the reference video. Now, over in Luma Labs, something interesting happens. Over in Luma Lab, I found that if I'm using Ray 3 with the same starting image, and I also used the character reference to make sure that my character looks like I want her to, the result was actually unusable. It's really, really bad. And this is Ray 3, not the new Ray 3.14. And if I used Ray 3.14, let's go to the first one that I generated. You can see here that this is kind of Brad Pitt in drag. When you use Ray 3.14, you don't have the character reference option. The subtle acting is extremely good. But the problem here was that I had the strength of the AI down to, over here, and it's too similar looking to Brad Pitt. So I moved it up a little bit higher, and you can see here that I used it in the middle, and it starts out really well. She does look a little bit like Brad Pitt here, but it is much better than the first version. So using a face, it seems to work better if the strength is higher. So I did like the Luma Labs 3.14 version a little bit better than Kling, but they are both pretty good. The problem is the pricing. If you go for the Plus version on Luma Labs, it sets you back $30 for 10,000 monthly credits. If you go for the Pro version on Kling, it gives you 3,000 credits per month. So I ran this through Grok to do a little price breakdown. And a long story short, for a 5-second scene using Luma Labs, it comes down to about almost $3. While in Kling, it sets you back 35 cents. I signed up for Luma Labs with the Plus subscription. As I had a few scenes that were a bit longer than 5 seconds, I think I generated 5 or 6 scenes before I had to upgrade my membership to the unlimited one. While in Kling, I could easily have generated all the shots that I wanted with tons of credits to spare. As I was quite impressed of the Luma Lab 3.14's facial expression, I have also done some testing with actors from famous movie scenes, and I have compared that to all the video generators that have a voice available when generating a video scene. And I'm going to show you that in a future video coming very soon. To sum it up, using Kling Motion Control or Luma Labs Modify Video can really help you out in generating some specific scenes. Maybe more action-driven, maybe a little bit more dramatic, actor-driven. That can help you out in achieving a very high professional look that you cannot get using normal prompting. So I do suggest you test it out. And if price is the most important factor, you can easily sign up with Kling. It is very good. Until next time, thank you for watching.